Welcome to Velocity Podcast. I'm so excited to have my friend Sherri here with me. She does all my photography, and she's just an incredible human.
Yay!
So thanks for coming.
That's nice. Thank you.
Alrighty, so today we are talking about all things photography, and I would like to touch on, of course, marketing at the end of it because this is a marketing podcast. But do you want to explain first kind of your story, how you got into photography, and then we'll take it from there?
Yeah, sure. My mom was a photographer. For years and years and years, it was kind of her side hustle sort of thing. She worked for the government. But all through my growing up, I remember she always had a camera in her hand. So that was kind of cool. I think I learned from osmosis, just, everything that was happening in her world with the camera. And then, I kind of dropped it for a while. I went for television broadcasting and graduated from Mohawk, did film production in Toronto, was doing all of that, and started to pick up the camera again, just as my real sort of side passion thing while I was producing TV commercials and documentaries and stuff like that. So, long story short, it just became more and more important to me, and I really wanted to start it as a business. And so that opportunity came actually in a strange way through September 11th. I was still in film production when September 11th happened, and there were a lot of industry folks that I knew, grips and gaffers and hair and makeup people and stuff, that were actually looking for new careers because people were just like the bottom just fell out of the industry.
Wow.
So, I sort of went to photography and I became a floral designer, and I bartended again, just right, just like everybody else, to sort of, make ends meet. But photography was always my in the rear view mirror. So, I ended up just pushing forward, and with a bit of tenacity, made it a business. It's now been full time since 2006.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to be a photographer. That was like when I was a kid, if someone was like, "What do you want to be?" I'd be like, "Photographer."
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Really?
I loved it.
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I did it in high school, like, the photography class, and then they kind of teach you the actual techniques. And then I never really pursued it, but I love it. Yeah.
It's really, it's the best, honestly. It really, there was something that captivated me so much about that slice of time theory, right? Like when you just, that it's never going to happen again. And you actually get this chance to connect with something, to take a visual of a slice in time that we'll never, ever experience again.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. That's so cool.
Yeah.
All right. So what kind of photography do you do? What's your favorite? What do you love to do?
Since I was younger, it's been weddings, and I still love weddings. I'm kind of an open-hearted person. If you do what color is your parachute? I'm a blue.
Okay.
I'm a blue. I'm a very emotional person. So, weddings were a really great fit for me. And I do some still, but just a handful probably every year. I love boudoir photography.
Yeah.
I'm focusing on women over 40 right now, and the benefits, the empowerment. It's not for every woman, but for women that it really does work for, and that really think of it as, a benefit to their lives and to their growing process and self-love process. It's really an amazing thing. So I love boudoir. I also do a lot of branding photography, which I really, really love.
Okay, cool. Very cool. All right, let's switch into that mode. When it comes to branding, why do you think it's so important that we have a plan with our photography? Like not just all selfies or phone pictures.
Yeah. We have seconds. We have like literally 3 seconds to capture somebody's attention. And when they're looking, there's so much competition out there. Like everything is pulling everybody here, there, and the other place. So, if somebody's considering you as the business that they want to work with, you need to captivate them. You need to grab them. You need to tell them so much of your story in that little tiny slice of time, like we were talking about earlier. Super, super important. And, I think the selfies are great. And I think, they're part of the whole social media package, you know, people seeing you and just seeing you on the fly and not always put together pristinely and 100% on. And, you know, that's all part of the pie. But, you know, if you're selling through your website, it is a must to have
100.
professional. Yeah.
Okay, so that when we build websites, that's something I see all the time. They either have low quality pictures from like 10 years ago, or, and it might be worse, I don't know, they'll be like, just use stock imagery. And I'm like, you can maybe use stock imagery for maybe a header or two, but you really do need those high quality pictures that fit your brand, fit like the vibe you're going for, that will connect you with your audience. And it takes your website from like here to here. And 100%. It's always the pictures that do that. There's no other, like, yeah, content is great and colors are great, but the photography is literally the difference maker.
Absolutely. And you know, people are keen to stock now. They're just like, what is this? Tell. Like, look at retirement residences. They all use stock photography.
Yeah.
You know, it's awful. It's just like, I've always wanted to. I used to volunteer at a seniors home, like Charlottesville. I love the senior people.
Yeah.
And I always wanted to do like real photos for them, because it's so much more of a connection than the stock photos.
Yeah.
You just can't get away with it anymore.
You know what? You can really feel the difference. It's like the soul thing. It's like, it's what I always say about AI now and like electronic drums. Like, yeah, it's doing what it's doing, but there's just not soul there.
Yeah.
And that's when I see, I'm like, oh, that's a total stock picture. And you can tell they're like,
yeah. But you also, you know, you want to tell a small bit of your story. You want to, like, what's going to differentiate you from others in your same business is you're the only person, you're the only difference between you and somebody else. So you really need to get that, hammer it hard in a few seconds with some excellent photography. And, you know, here's the other thing, I'll just throw this out there. If you work with a really creative, professional person that really knows their stuff, you can utilize their tools to show off your tools. So if you're in the right business where you could maybe use different angles, like be slightly below the eye line to increase the size, just in a very, very, very small degree. Like, there's lots of psychological things that you can do if you're in the right business to work with some creative tools like that, right? And so working with a professional, they know, maybe not all of them, but
the good ones. I'll tell you why I love working with you, because, and this is the difference, I think, and this is what you should somehow put on your website or whatever, is that you will, and I don't know how you could say this nicely, but she'll be like, no, you guys look weird. You're standing weird. That's a masculine pose. You want to be fat, put your foot out. And that's what I appreciated about you, because it's like, people take pictures. I'm like, something's off. I don't love it. But then when you came around, you're like, yeah, you stand like a dude, like stand like a woman. And then that was like the game changer. I'm serious. And you know what? When we had
so
you for
funny.
my sister's
I remember that.
Yeah, they were like, tell us. I'm like, she'll tell us what to do. And that is like, it literally is. It's such a game changer.
Yeah, so, I've actually heard that a lot, and you know, I think that's the main thing. In my experience, why people don't love getting their photos taken is because they don't know what to do.
Of course.
And if you work with, like, sometimes there's people that are less experienced that you work with, and they're not quite 100% in their craft yet. They're still working on like exposure and, you know, all these other things that coaching your client is like just another added thing to that puzzle. And it can be really, really challenging. Yeah. So working with someone that kind of has all of that other stuff sort of a little more in the bag, you have the time to coach your client and tell them what to do. Yeah. It just sets everybity at ease, right?
Yeah, it does. It just kind of makes you a little more comfortable being like, okay, she's looking out for my best interest. She's not just trying to get these 10 pictures done and then like hit the road. So I love that. Okay, so do you want to give some tips for anybody who's looking for branding photos? I'm going to link all your information. But what are some things they can do to kind of just prepare, or stances, or that might be too general if you don't know their specific job, but is there something where you can be like, okay, here's like 3 tips that will make your branding pictures kind of go next level?
Like if they're doing them themselves?
If they're doing them themselves, or hiring someone, or in the hiring stage.
So typically if you're doing them yourself, Get good light. Light. You know this about me.
Yeah.
I hated your first office.
I know. I hated it too. All offices
light.
with these lights.
Let's go out by
so
the front
confusing.
door, Sherri. Let's go.
Yeah.
Go by a window. Go to a window. Look right into the window and have your camera here. Light is your very best friend. I would say the top 3 things: light, and light.
Ooh,
if you're
there you go.
shooting them yourself. If you're shooting with somebody else, what I send out a questionnaire to work with me. I want to know what things you need to focus on. I'll always go through your website ahead of time, and I'm not a social media manager, but I find that a lot of clients I do work with don't have either the budget to work with multiple levels of people who can help them in that regard. So I like to know, I think, okay, if you want to concentrate on this, what are you missing on your website? Okay. What would you like to focus on? What do you think that you're missing? And let's go there. What does that look like to you? And we'll have a conversation. We may even have another conversation on the phone about, figure out who your client is. Make sure you know who your client is, where they are, and figure out what you might be missing on your website, and how can we do 1 or 2 really clean, clear, beautiful images that somebody can just snap and quickly look at and go, oh yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, so when it comes to your website, you're taking one picture, but here's the problem I'm having currently, literally right before you came, I was working on this. All of the electronic billboards are skinny rectangles. And when you have a team, it's really hard to make that work like graphically. I know this is kind of getting to like graphic design territory. What can we do? Like, is when we do branding pictures, would we tell you like, okay, we only want this for our website? Or should we say, okay, we're looking for a website, we're going to do some print materials and...
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So what I did with my last client, Brand Nutrition, I said to Kim, let's make sure that we do some negative space. So if you're going to pull this into Canva, you have a place for your graphics, and then we can always crop it in a different way. Like if you want to use it as a header on your website or something like that, you can put whatever you need on the left or on the right, and you don't run into trouble later. And you think, I just went through and did all this branding work, and and we didn't get that. Or I can't pull it, I can't crop it out of what I have. Yeah. Right. So if you tell the photographer or someone that you're working with what you want it for, that will really definitely help. Because in my mind, that's what I'm going to think. Okay, we should do some negative space shots. I should do some even cropping that is long and skinny for you, just of, from the chest up of your face, or whatever you want to maybe put there.
Yeah. Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just something I've been noticing, because graphically speaking, I hate those. Like the nice big billboards, like the print ones, they're easy to work with. They're just a normal size. But lately with those skinny ones, I'm like, it's just hard to make things look nice. Like it's an effort. So I wondered actually about, like, I'm like, okay, next time I do branding photos, I'm going to keep this in mind for that exact reason.
And some people might not know.
Yeah.
They might not know, like, I want to be on a bench, or you know what I mean? Like the benches are.
So that is my next question. How often should we be doing these branding shots?
Well, personally, I think that you can never have too much content.
That's so true. I agree.
Like, yes, everybody runs out of content. Yeah. Always. Okay. When am I even me. I did a shoot quite a while ago, and actually there's still a few of the shots that I haven't used yet. But I mean, yeah, you can never have enough content. So, as much as your budget will allow, I have like monthly payment schedules, and we go out like every few months. You can pay a tiny little bit a month. We'll go out every few months and do it seasonally. Seasonally is always nice to switch things up. No winter coats. You can get outside in the winter, studio shoots, stuff like that. But I would say at least 4 times a year.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, because even, again, myself, I was like looking through my things. I'm like, oh man, like we did it last year. I'm like, I need to book another one. It's hard because I have a woman who lives in North Bay, and I like her to be included. but I'm just like, you can't have enough because
Yeah.
like
Oh,
you
it's true.
use it with social media, like it's a whole different game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's another thing, actually, just zipping back to one of your past questions about how to prepare for a branding shoot.
Mhm.
Know kind of what you want to do, to have some kind of idea as to what is going to benefit you the most. Don't
Yeah.
just say, I've I've worked with people who don't fill out my questionnaires and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that, and they're just like, oh, can't we just do it on the fly?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be like, well, yeah, sure,
Yeah.
we can, but you want to really make the best use of your time and, you know, the money spent on the shoot. Um, just have some sort of idea and let's talk about it, because then I can plug in a couple of ideas and you might think of something else on
Mm-hmm.
top
Mm-hmm.
of that. And,
Yeah. That's awesome. I like to have it planned personally because when in the moment with all the lights and the flashing, it's like your brain goes kind of, it breaks. And then it's like, oh, what do you want next? And that's when it's like, I don't know, I didn't prepare.
yeah.
So,
So let me ask you something, if you don't
mhm,
mind. I saw your post the other day about video. Video is king. So
mhm.
what's your take on the video photography thing?
Okay. So I think similar to you, you need your nice branded stuff and then you can do your phone, quick, easy, like just day in the life type of stuff.
Mm,
Um, in reality, we have budgets we have to work within. So we can't always have a videographer following us around. So I just think when you're doing it, I like to do behind the scenes shots. Like I got someone to take like the picture of the setup while we were chit chatting. And I think it's really important to do a little bit of both. Yeah.
yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. I also find, though, I've done just very little bit of video work
Yeah.
in my life. It's just not I love it, but it's
Mm-hmm.
just not my jam. Um, and I find it can be even more difficult to get a client to relax
Oh,
into it, right? Like that is tough.
that's a tough one. And a lot of times it's, I just say this like your first few videos aren't going to be great. My first videos were not great. If you look at Leonardo DiCaprio, his first few videos they weren't great either. But
Hmm.
then you move on and you get better, you get a little bit more comfortable. I know the first time you came and took pictures, I was like, I don't know what to do with these hands.
Yeah, yeah,
But then the last time I was like a lot more relaxed. So it's kind of like exposure therapy, so to speak. Like you just have to do it and then you get a lot more comfortable. But if you don't do
yeah.
it, you won't. But you need to do it. You need to have the pictures, you need to have the video,
I hear your
you know?
voice in my head, just do it. Just do it. Yeah, it's going
Just
to
do
suck
it.
the first few times. Just
Yeah.
do it.
It's just true. Like, and when I look back at my stuff, I laugh because I not only can see how bad it is, I know the preparation I actually put. Like, I wrote my script, I did this, I made sure. And I'm just like, oh, it's funny. It's just one of those things you just have to do and get the bad ones out of the way. And then,
True.
yeah, it's just reps, as they say in the workout world.
Yeah. True.
All right. I have one last question, unless you want to. Did I miss anything? You want to add anything?
Oh, I love to talk about the AI thing, but maybe we
Oh,
won't go there now.
okay. That's a whole other,
yeah, that's a whole other talk.
Yeah, I'm loving the AI
Oh,
thing.
me too.
It's a love hate.
I used
actually.
it yesterday.
Oh yeah, good,
Yeah,
good, good.
in Canva.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know the Canva. They did a really good job with integrating.
yeah,
Because like, oh, I love big companies because they're really good at being like, that's my competition. Buy it, make it happen in here. So I think
mm.
that's really neat.
It's fun. It
Yeah,
writes stuff for me, and then I just edit it. It's
yeah,
such a time saver, honestly, for little sentences or
yeah.
little paragraphs or something like that. You can always change it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I always say to people like it makes you efficient. It's not another human. It's not a real
yeah,
VA. You still have to have that human element, but it's such a time saver. I was telling my client today, I'm like, they do podcasts. And they're like, oh, we should turn it into a blog. I'm going to do this. I'm like, take this transcript, copy paste, put it into the thing, tell it to make it a blog. You read over it. You add what you need to read. Like, I'm like, it's so easy. Why are you going to waste 5 hours? And to the boss, I'm like, why are you paying this person 5 hours to do something
yeah,
that she could literally be done in 25 minutes?
100%.
All right. So the question I ask all my guests at the end of the podcast is, what would be on your career bucket list? Like it could be wild, think big.
Oh, I would love to be a travel photographer.
Yeah.
Work for a really awesome travel magazine. I've always wanted that,
Mm,
though.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I make whatever money I make to travel.
Yeah.
That is just Brian and I, my partner, that's all we want to do.
Yeah.
That's all we want
Yeah.
to
You were
do.
just in New York, right? Was it New York? No, where were
Oh,
you?
we were
Sorry.
in Toronto. We were in Vegas. We
Oh,
were in
Vegas, maybe it
Mexico
was.
last year.
Yeah.
We've been to New York City 5 or 6 times. I love it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
We'd love to travel.
All right, so you want to get paid for that?
Why not?
Same.
Why not, right? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah, it would be awesome.
Beaches and volcanoes and
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Okay, well, thanks a lot for taking time and coming
Of
on
course.
this episode of Velocity Podcast. And I'm going to drop all her information, so give her a follow on Instagram. And if you need anything, reach out. She's an amazing brand photographer. Or any type of photography. But all right, thanks for watching.